I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. Getting in CRNA school is not easy. Staying in CRNA school is even harder. I have a lot of different followers that are interested in the profession, and I'm going to give you what you need to know no matter what phase that you're in. Whether you're not even a nurse yet, a nursing student, new graduate nurse, or a nurse on a med-surg or ICU or whatever you're working, I'm going to give you the step that you need to take depending on which phase that you're in. So for everyone, this first step applies to you all. Make sure that you have a good understanding of what a CRNA is and what a CRNA does, especially the differences between the CRNA in New York versus the CRNA in California. There's different state differences between what scope of practice a CRNA has, and then from facility to facility there are also differences that you need to be aware of. Make sure that you're aware of the issues that are facing the profession today. That's another important thing that you need to know and be prepared for. So for my not nurses yet, make sure that you get your bachelor's. I don't care how you do it, but you need your bachelor's before you can apply to CRNA school. It might be easier for you to get your RN first and then get your bachelor's. There's also ways around that to not actually get your bachelor's of science in nursing. I do not recommend this way, but if you have your bachelor's of science in a related science to nursing, schools will take you if you have your RN license as well. However, you have to be a very competitive applicant for them to consider you. So make sure you get your Bachelor's of Science in Nursing. It's becoming the gold standard, the entry level, so get your bachelor's degree. For my nursing students, this is your time to make sure that your GPA is the highest that it can ever be. Schools require, at a minimum, most schools require at a minimum, a 3.0 on a 4.0 scale. Most schools accept students with a much higher GPA than that. Also, get involved. You don't have to spend all of your time on outside extracurricular activities, but you're learning to be an advocate for patients. You need to also learn how to be an advocate for your profession as well. So getting involved, going to national or state meetings is going to be beneficial to you so that you're prepared when you become a CRNA to continue that advocacy. Another thing that would help you out is to get a nursing internship in the ICU or even work in the ICU as a nurse assistant or patient care technician. This will get your foot in the door and help you just get a feel for the ICU or the step-down unit. A lot of people say that you should get, med-surg foundation. I don't believe that because it's not something that I did. Do whatever works best for you, but if you want to become a CRNA, you've got to get that ICU experience. You might get stuck in the med-surg unit for longer than you think, and you might not be able to progress to the step down and then to the ICU. For my nurses out there that are working in the critical care unit, make sure you have your bachelor's. For my nurses that are working and aren't in the ICU, get into the ICU, and if you don't have your bachelor's, get your bachelor's. Like I said before, you need your bachelor's so that you can apply to CRNA school. In addition to that, make sure that you have your advanced cardiac life support or your pediatric advanced life support. Most schools require that for you to enter into CRNA school. Other things that you need to have are your CCRN. And I say you need to have this because it's becoming the standard of having the CCRN certification. Some schools do not list this as a requirement, but I believe that it's pretty much preferred. So the CCRN is a certification. It doesn't actually stand for Critical Care Registered Nurse. It is actually a trademark of the AACN, and it basically is a certification that validates your critical care knowledge. So you can get your CCRN, you can get the subspecialty certifications like the CSC or the CMC, cardiac medicine, and then cardiac surgery specialty certifications if you would like as well. In addition to that, you will need your GRE or your MAT. There's actually a couple schools that don't require either of these exams depending on your GPA, or they just don't require it at all. But the GRE is basically the SAT for graduate school. It stands for the Graduate Record Examination. And then the MAT is a Miller's Analogy Test, and that's a test of analogies, and is also a standardized test. After you get those things, it's time to start thinking about who you're going to ask for your recommendations that can speak to your abilities, making sure your resume is up to date, looking at your personal essay, thinking about what you're going to write up for that, and then going over your transcripts and making sure you have all your transcripts together and that they're ready to be submitted. So for me, these are a couple stats that I had when I applied to CRNA School. I had 1.5 years of experience in the CVICU when I applied. I started right in the CVICU after nursing school. So I did that, and I also worked as a patient care technician. It was a student nurse internship in the step-down unit and then in the CVICU. So like I said, it's such a great transition right into the ICU if you can do that. So 3.8 undergraduate GPA, 1.5 years of CVICU experience at the time of application. I had my CCRN, the CSC. I got personal recommendations from my nurse manager of the CVICU, the assistant dean of my nursing school, and then one of the CRNAs that I shadowed. That's basically what you need to know depending on what phase that you're in. So I am looking to get 100 subscribers so that I can give away a copy of Duke's Anesthesia Secrets. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please, please, please subscribe. Just hit that red button right there. It's not a hard thing to do. Also, I have a website, nursenell.com, and I have a blog post actually about getting into CRNA school. So if you haven't checked that out, go ahead, head to my website, nursenell.com, and look at that blog post. Also, you can follow me on Instagram at IamNurseNell. So thanks for watching.